Okay, here's another comment. This individual says, thank you so very, very much. You have honestly made my life so much better. Well, thank God for that, and we'll give God the glory for it. He says, I owe you so much. I've been battling diabetes, type 2 diabetes, since 2008. Well, that's a long time. They kept giving me more and more drugs, but it wasn't helping me. Well, that's been the solution. Take this drug, take this med. Well, that's not doing enough. Take another one, take another one. Now, I'm not against medications when they're needful, but in many cases they're not. And in many cases, you can get off them fairly quickly if you know what to do. So he says, they kept giving me more and more drugs. It wasn't helping. I stumbled on your videos, watching YouTube on my television. Now, here's the amazing thing. It's only been less than 2 weeks, this individual says. Just under 2 weeks, so I guess we're talking about 12 days or so. My sugar has come down substantially. I'm now in the high 4s or mid 5s, using millimoles as the standard. Must be European or, well, there's a lot of people use millimoles. But anyway, high 4s or mid 5s, well, that's excellent. And especially considering it's just been 2 weeks and they've been full-scale diabetic. I've already dropped 8 pounds. Thank you for everything you do for diabetes education. Well, the thing there that is worth commenting on and worth making mention of is this individual is excited and they know that they're doing better because they're testing their glucose. There is, we talk about motivation and the power of motivation to conquer diabetes. And there's nothing more motivating than that little glucose meter that is telling you you're doing better now than you were 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, you had numbers like 160, 180 as a normal glucose throughout the day. And when you woke up in the morning, you were at 190. And now you're having glucose averages of 120, 115. And when you wake up in the morning, it's much, much lower. So that meter is telling you you're doing well. And knowing that, the motivation will come. There are a lot of products, various foods and supplements and vitamins and pills of different kinds that people take. And they will encourage you with the thought that this will make you feel so much better. But the idea of feeling better is not an objective measurement. You can look at yourself and you can say, how do I feel? Well, I think I feel better. That pill must be doing me some good. Well, no, it may not. It may be a placebo effect. A lot of times doctors that are doing researches and nutritionists that are doing research and studies will give one group something that they think will really help them, and the other group they'll give a placebo, like a sugar pill or some pill that doesn't do a single thing for you. You just swallow it, but they won't tell you it's a placebo. They won't tell you that it can't do anything for you, so you're taking it thinking, all right, this may be doing me some good, and after you take it, you may feel better and say, wow, that's a pretty powerful pill. It was just a sugar pill, or it was just something that has no benefit at all, but you think it's doing you good. That's not good enough. But when you have a way to measure how you're doing, and that's what this individual is so excited about. They're like, well, I've just been doing this a little while, less than 2 weeks, but my numbers have come down. How do I know that? I have tested my glucose. I have done measurements of my post-meal tests and my fasting tests when I wake up in the morning and throughout the day, and I can see my numbers have come down, and that is thrilling. And you have definitive data to show you you're improving. And that's why I stress the glucose meter so much, because you need that. We all do. And it's thrilling. It's wonderful. It is exciting when you see the numbers going down. It's kind of like a person who's been overweight all their life and they're doing something new or they're trying some new diet or whatever, and instead of weighing 190 from last week, now they weigh 185, and then next week 180, and the next week 175, and they're like, wow, this is working. And that's what a glucose meter will do, or a CGM, continuous glucose monitor, will do. They will show you if what you're doing is working, and that's why I'm like, don't trust me. Don't trust any YouTube guru or any doctor. Just take your glucose meter. And, if people recommend things, you can say, well, it's worth a try. I think I'll try it. But let your glucose meter tell you if you're headed in the right direction. In the old days, when people were hiking in the wilderness, or these mountain men that were in the mountains, they would often have a compass, and the compass would tell them what direction you're going. So if you know you need to be going west, then you look at your compass, and if your compass is pointing east, you're like, I'm going the wrong way, I'm turned around. Or if it's going north or south, you're like, no, that's not where I want to go. And you keep changing your direction until suddenly it says, yeah, you're going west, and okay, I'm on the right track. I'll keep going this way because this is leading me where I need to go. Your glucose meter is your compass, my friend. It's telling you if you're going the right direction. And I don't care how many degrees some doctor may have, or how prestigious he is, or whether he has a television show or anything else, if your glucose meter does not confirm the direction that he's giving you, then you need to change directions. Your meter ought to confirm it, and it shouldn't take years. Some people are just like, well, you got to have faith. He's not doing me much good right now. My meter is certainly not indicating any improvement, but maybe if I just keep with this diet for the next year, maybe after a year it'll help me, or maybe after a year and a half, or maybe I just need to get more severe. And they just try to find excuses why their meter is not confirming their diet or their lifestyle or their change or the pills they're taking. It should not take you too long. Yeah, sometimes you do have to be a bit patient. But within 6 months, you ought to be seeing some pretty significant progress if you're going the right direction. And if you're not, then maybe it's time for a change. So this person is excited. Is like, well, 2 weeks? I'm already seeing my numbers down significantly. That won't happen for everybody, but for many it will. And when we do these challenges, I start getting reports within about 2 weeks. People saying, wow, this is really working already. And they're like, well, if this works for me in 2 weeks, what will I be like in 6 months or 4 months? And the answer is, if you keep with the course, you'll be doing pretty well. And your glucose meter will confirm it. Is Dennis Pollock a nut? Or does he know a little bit about what he's talking about? Let your glucose meter confirm it. It's like, all right. It's kind of like Bill Burliant. He saw a video of me eating hamburger, trying to make the point that meat doesn't really raise blood sugar much. He thought that's crazy. He had been told apparently so many bad things about meat, he just assumed meat would raise your blood sugar like crazy. So he went out in the evening, fairly late, to the grocery store and bought a bunch of hamburgers, frozen big monster patties. He said, I'm going to find out if this preacher knows what he's talking about. And it sounds to me like he really was expecting it not to work, and he was expecting to leave a nice, nasty comment under one of my videos saying, you're crazy. I tried all that meat and it didn't work. And he was a raging diabetic at the time. He had very high glucose. And no, his eating meat all day long the next day didn't bring it down to normal, but it lowered it significantly. Whereas he was expecting it would either raise it or just leave it alone. But it certainly wouldn't lower it. It dropped something like 30 or 40 points. And after that, he started watching my videos. He's like, well, that preacher must know a little something because it helped me. And he learned about low-carb veggies. He learned about some of the keto tricks and desserts and various recipes. And he has made phenomenal progress, and he has now got an excellent A1C. Here's a guy that was diabetic for years. And he's lost tons of weight, but he tested it. He confirmed it with his glucose meter. The question that so many people have about us is, how in the world did you guys get to know each other? How did you get together? Well, the answer is found in Benedicta's new autobiography, When Destiny Calls. In fact, we do something in that autobiography that is almost never done. We each have a chapter sharing from our own perspective how we got together and how we first got to know each other. So she tells her side of it, I tell my side of it, and then it goes on with the rest of her autobiography. And the whole autobiography is exciting. It's a lot of drama and a lot of good stuff. But I think you'll find it interesting to know how it was that God brought us together. So there'll be a link in the description about how you can get this book on Amazon.
either as an ebook or a paperback.